wedding day too. Ah, how little he had looked for such a close to such a year. The carrier expected that Tackleton would pay him an early visit, and he was right. He had walked to and fro before his own door many minutes when he saw the toy merchant coming in his chaise along the road. As the chaise drew nearer, he perceived that Tackleton was dressed out sprucely for his marriage, and that he had decorated his horses' heads with flowers and favours. The horse looked much more like a bridegroom than Tackleton, whose half-closed eyes were more disagreeably expressive than ever. But the carrier took little heed of this. His thoughts had other occupation. "John Peerybingle," said Tackleton with an air of condolence, "my good fellow, how do you find yourself this morning?" "I have had a poor night, Mr. Tackleton," returned the carrier, shaking his head, "for I have been a good deal disturbed in my mind. But it is over now. Can you spare me half an hour or so for some private talk?" "I came on purpose," returned Tackleton, alighting. "Never mind the horse. He'll stand quiet enough, with the reins over the post, if you'll give him a mouthful of hay." The carrier, having brought it from his stable and set it before him, they turned into the house. "You are not married before noon," he said, "I think." "No," said Tackleton, "plenty of time, plenty of time." When they entered the kitchen, Tilly Slowboy was rapping at the stranger's door, which was only removed from it by a few steps. One of her very red eyes, for Tilly had been crying all night long, because her mistress cried, was at the keyhole, and she was knocking very loud and seemed frightened. "If you please, I can't make nobody hear," said Tilly, looking round. "I hope nobody ain't gone in and been and dead, if you please." This philanthropic wish Miss Slowboy emphasized with various new raps and kicks at the door, which led to no result whatsoever. "Shall I go?" said Tackleton. "It's curious." The carrier, who had turned his face from the door, signed him to go if he would. So Tackleton went to Tilly Slowboy's relief, and he too kicked and knocked, and he too failed to get the least reply. But he thought of trying the handle of the door, and, as it opened easily, he peeped in, looked in, went in, and soon came running out. "John Peerybingle," said Tackleton in his ear, "I hope there has been nothing rash in the night." The carrier turned upon him quickly. "Because he's gone," said Tackleton, "and the window's open. I don't see any marks, to be sure. It's almost on a level with the garden. But I was afraid there might have been some scuffle, eh?" He nearly shut up the expressive eye altogether. He looked at him so hard, and he gave his eye and his face and his whole person a sharp twist, as if he would have screwed the truth out of him. "Make yourself easy," said the carrier. "He went into that room last night without harm in word or deed from me, and no one has entered it since. He is away of his own free will. I'd go out gladly at that door and beg my bread from house to house for life, if I could so change the past that he had never come. But he has come and gone, and I have done with him." "Oh, well, I think he has got off pretty easy," said Tackleton, taking a chair. The sneer was lost upon the carrier, who sat down too, and shaded his face with his hand, for some little time before proceeding. "You showed me last night," he said at length, my wife that I love secretly." "And tenderly," insinuated Tackleton. "Conniving at that man's disguise, and giving him opportunities of meeting her alone. I think there's no sight I wouldn't have rather seen than that. I think there's no man in the world I wouldn't have rather had to show it me." "I confess to having my suspicions already," said Tackleton, and that has made me objectionable here, I know. But as you did show it me, pursued the carrier, not minding him, and as you saw her, my wife that I love, his voice and eye and hand grew steadier and firmer as he repeated these words, evidently in pursuance of a steadfast purpose. As you saw her at this disadvantage, it is right and just that you should also see with my eyes, and look into my breast, and know that my mind is upon the subject. For it's settled, said the carrier, regarding him attentively, and nothing can shake it now. Tackleton muttered a few general words of assent about it being necessary to vindicate something or another, but he was overwhelmed by the manner of his companion, plain and unpolished as it was. It had a something dignified and noble in it, which nothing but the soul of a generous honor dwelling in the man could have imparted. End of Section 7. Recorded by Jason Isbell, www.shabamdevelopment.com.